I want to watch the news.
Are you making headway at least?
This is the news.
Schmack-a-magob, it's time for the only news that matters. And Mötley Crüe's guitarist Mick Mars has sued his bandmates, claiming they are ripping him off financially. Mars announced in October that he was retiring from touring with Mötley Crüe due to his ongoing painful struggle with ankylosing spondylitis, a type of arthritis that causes inflammation in the spine joints and ligaments and can lead to stiffness over time. But in his lawsuit, which was obtained by TMZ, he said he made it clear he could still record with the band or do limited performances, but he just can't handle a full tour with his condition. In the lawsuit, Mick said Mötley Crüe cut his percentages of profits from 25% to 5% after he announced he was stepping back from touring. Furthermore, he claims the band's lawyer made him feel like he should be grateful for even that small cut because they didn't feel they owed him anything at all. Mick also claimed that there was a full band meeting and they decided to unitarily remove him from Mötley Crüe. Mick also repeatedly accused bassist Nikki Sixx of gaslighting him about his guitar skills diminishing, despite the fact that Sixx didn't play a single note of bass during the recent tour, according to the guitarist. Mick claims all of Nikki's parts were pre-recorded. Mick is suing Mötley Crüe so he can go over all the financial books and determine if he's getting what he feels he deserves. How did Mars's brothers of 41 years respond to Mick's tragic announcement about quitting the road? Asked the suit, according to Variety, they noticed an emergency shareholders meeting for the band's main corporate entity in order to throw Mick out of the band, to fire him as a director of the corporation, to fire him as an officer of the corporation, and to take away his share of the corporation. Purported to fire him from 6 additional band corporations and LLCs. The suit contains, during much of the band's recent tenure, Sixx continually gaslighted Mars by telling him had some sort of dysfunction and that his guitar playing was subpar, claiming that Mars forgot chords and sometimes started playing the wrong songs. Astonishingly, Sixx made these claims about Mars playing while he did not play a single note of bass during the entire U.S. tour. The lawsuit continues. Ironically, 100% of Sixx's bass parts were nothing but recordings. Sixx was seen fist pumping in the air with his strumming hand while the bass part was still playing. In fact, a significant portion of Vince Neil's vocals were also pre-recorded. Even some of Tommy Lee's drum parts were recorded. Some fans actually noticed that Lee was walking toward his drum set as they heard his drum parts begin. Mars at times on the tour did play the wrong chords, but not due to any dysfunction. He was playing live and his in-ear monitors were constantly malfunctioning, causing Mars to be unable to hear his own instrument. The fact is that Mars is rarely mocked or criticized online. He is a quiet member of the group who shows up and plays, and puts his heart and soul into each performance. The other band members are often criticized online, particularly Neil, who is routinely torn to shreds for, among other things, not remembering the songs. According to Variety, Mars' attorney says he was warned by the band's lawyers that if your client rejects the severance package that was graciously offered him by the band, he will get next to nothing. I suggest you think about the repercussions of this decision. There is undisputed legal cause here for Mars' removal. Mars is unable to perform as a full-fledged member of the band. Among other things, as demonstrated during the last tour, he repeatedly forgot his chords, does not play the right songs, plays chords of a different song while on stage, and so on. Mick is suing Mötley Crüe so he can get over all the financial books and determine if he's getting what he feels he deserves. So what Carmine Appice said like a month ago makes a lot of sense now, doesn't it? Sounds like Mick did tell him all that. But now Mick won't return his calls. I guess it has to do with the lawsuit. And if we go back to when Mick first left the band, John Corabi came out and called it saying that, no, this doesn't seem right. I think Mick Mars is getting hosed on this. And looks like that John was right as well. What a mess. And I'll tell you, to me, the most shocking part of this is that Vince Neil is using tapes. Vince is using tapes on stage? Couldn't they get better tapes? Unbelievable. All I know is that I don't care if they're using tapes or not. I would not go see Mötley Crüe. I did see the farewell tour. Alice Cooper completely blew them away. But Mötley Crüe did have an awesome stage show. I'll give them that. I wouldn't go see Mötley Crüe anymore. I mean, it's not Mötley Crüe. It's a bunch of guys up there playing tapes. And a bunch of guys that hate that music, except for Vince Neil. He loves it. And probably John 5 does as well. But Tommy and Nikki, it's only for a paycheck. And come on, Mick Mars gets a free pass. Like, come on, let's get real here. The guy said during the 2015 farewell tour that if they ever came back, he would buy a ticket for everybody. He lied. It's just disgraceful. This whole thing is disgraceful. Mötley screwed their fans in 2015, saying it was a farewell tour with a contract. But hey, some of you out there want to see this sham. More power to you. I'm staying home. Anyway, that's it for the only news that matters. I want to thank you all for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Click the little notification bell and please give this video a like. It's good for the YouTube algorithms. And if you like to donate, I got a PayPal in the description below. So stay frosty, listen to Black Sabbath, and smack 'em a gob.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain.
Before we get canceled, check out the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast with me and Wattzilla. We are the Podcast Kings. Link to the podcast is in the description below, and also a link to the YouTube page. Check out older episodes with visuals. And very soon, either Ian and I will learn how to go on YouTube Live. Might be soon. So check out the greatest podcast ever according to science.com. It's also God's favorite podcast and Satan's favorite podcast as well. So check out the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast before we get canceled.